Hey everybody. Uh, Welcome to the June volunteer information session. We hosted this call about 2 weeks ago, and in the call we realized that we had a couple of things that we wanted to announce, but we couldn't quite announce yet. We had to have them approved, but we didn't want to change the call time itself. So we had the call, and there were a couple of people on it. And then instead of uploading that call, we decided maybe it makes more sense to just re-record it, which is what I'm doing now. So I am recording a call with nobody else here, just me, which is a little bit strange, but recording it to go out to you all to give you an update on June. Just a reminder that we always host these calls on the first Wednesday of the month at 5 p.m. Portugal time and 9 a.m. Pacific. All these videos go up on YouTube. So if you ever want to see an old one or catch up on things, you can go to youtube.com/TergarRetreats. Obviously, if you're seeing this, I have done my job. I've pressed record. And a reminder of when we meet. So we have a couple retreats and events coming up. In September, we have the month-long Joy of Living 1, 2, and 3 retreat at Karuna. If you haven't been to Karuna, it's absolutely beautiful. The retreat center is on the top of a mountain, and both the dining hall and the meditation hall overlook all of the south of Portugal. You can see all the way to the ocean from up there. And it's just an absolutely beautiful, quiet, serene place to be and to do a meditation. This month-long Joy of Living will be hosted by, or will be guided by, Mioshin and Edwin Kelly. And so you're going to get two very experienced guides helping you through the entire Joy of Living program. And then that also makes it so that way you can take Path of Liberation. So you meet all the prerequisites for that, and you can move on to it if that's important to you. The details are here. I'll also put them in the comments in the description for YouTube. But I think we already have 16-ish people signed up for it, and so there is a cap. If you're interested, you can go to the page, leave a deposit. You don't have to pay the whole thing up front, but you can put a deposit in, which reserves your space. Karuna is a wonderful place, and it's a really special opportunity. The other update is that Rinpoche is doing a Portugal tour. It's happening this August, and he's starting by giving his first talk down in Lisbon on the 14th. It'll be in the evening. Then he's going to move up to Coimbra and do another talk in the evening on the 15th. And then on the 16th, we're going to have our welcome celebration here on the land in Pudentes. The welcome celebration has changed from a 2-day event to a 1-day event. I'll talk a little bit more about why we are doing that. But what we want to know, or what we want people to know, is that Rinpoche is giving 2 talks, then we're having a fest all day in Pudentes, and we really encourage people to actually stay in Coimbra during the welcome celebration, as opposed to trying to stay closer to Pudentes. Coimbra is just a bigger city. It's got more amenities, more things you might want. Coffee in the morning, places to go in the evening. You can get teas, more restaurants. Pudentes is a very small town. They say the population's 200, but I've been here for over a month, and I don't know if I can confirm that. It's a really small town. There's one small grocery store which sells kind of the bare essentials, and there's a cultural center which is also like a salon or a bar that opens up on the weekends. But other than that, there's not much here. And so if you love being out in nature and being remote, it's great. But if you are looking for something that feels a little bit more like being in a new place or in a city, Coimbra is definitely the place to be. Okay, with that in mind, we sent out a newsletter and registration last week. You may not have received it. We are using a new platform called GiveButter. But what you need to know is that that might have gone to the spam folder. So we encourage you to check your spam folder if you haven't received it. And then we also have a website here, givebutter.com/welcome celebration. It's going to take you to this right here, which is the whole event page. There's a really robust FAQ, which please feel free to read through it. It is a free event, but we really would appreciate if you register for it, so reserve your spot. It helps us know how much food we need. It also lets us know how many places we need to be picking up people from for the shuttles. If anybody has any accessibility or accommodation needs, just all sorts of small things that really help us throw a much better event that is less wasteful and more catered to the size of the group. If you want to, you can leave a donation as well. All the donation funds are going to go towards the event itself, feeding people and taking care of that. And then any extras we have will go to Tergar Retreats itself. One of the things I do want to note specifically is if you go to the FAQ, there is a, can you recommend lodging options in the area? So nearby hotels and campgrounds. One of the other updates is that we won't be hosting people on the land camping for the welcome celebration. There's a lot of reasons for it, and I'll jump into it a little bit later. But if you are still looking to come and stay nearby, Alejandra, who's been working with the volunteer group, has been awesome. She put together a list of different places you could stay. For example, this one is in Puentes. Oh, I ran a query that I didn't need to. Well, there you go. AI can solve all your problems. And then Pinelo, which is a little ways away. Miranda de Corvo, Coimbra. And then there's even some camping options. So Usha Pariso right here is an open air camping. And that's just a short drive away. You could even walk here. It's a long walk, but you could walk here if you were into that. So there's a lot of options here. You can check those out. And if you have any questions, you can always email or reach out to me via WhatsApp. And then just some other things about what to wear and what's going on. And there is not a schedule for the day yet, but that is on our to-do list for this week. So I hope to update this with a schedule next week, which kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. You know, it's probably going to go from 10 a.m. till 9 p.m., give or take. What's going to happen when? My understanding is that the morning's going to be a little bit more Buddhist focused with a land blessing and some meditations. And then the afternoon, it's going to switch a little bit more into a traditional festa, which is the Portuguese kind of gathering. Okay. What else do we have here? The tour. May volunteering. I want to give a little update on what's been going on the land in May. So the month of May, we scaled up to about 7 people here on the land. It's a mix of operations, housekeeping, kitchen, kind of like a general volunteer, but mostly people who are organizing and putting systems in place. It's been a mix of learning how to operate and live on the land together. And I just want to name some of the focus areas that we've done and thank some people. So a lot of the daily operations, like how do we feed people, make sure that everybody's getting enough nutrition, and kitchen work, we focus on those systems. It's surprising even to me how complicated it is of how do we make sure we feed everybody without spending a lot of money? How do we make sure that the meals are ready and cooked and good to go? How do we keep the kitchen clean? How do we make sure that anybody with dietary restrictions is taken care of? There's a lot going on. So Alex, who is a local Portuguese chef, has been working with us to do that. It's been fantastic. He's been very helpful. So a shout out to him and a thank you for keeping us fed. Alejandra, who I mentioned earlier, has offered to run all of the housekeeping. We are in what was an old hotel. It's a very small one. There's 8 rooms. But there are people that are coming in and out. There are guests on the land. So just making sure that the rooms are kept up. The maintenance, for those of you here in April, you know, this hotel hasn't really been used in decades. So we have all sorts of odd things that you wouldn't expect, you know. Heaters don't work, fans in the bathrooms don't work, some of the bathroom piping needs to be updated, just all these little quirks of having a really old building, they're kind of cropping up. And so having people who are responsible for taking care of these things so that way people can sleep in a bed and not get eaten by mosquitoes and little gnats while they're here. All these things are really helpful. And then what else? Maintenance, obviously. But yeah, we have all sorts of systems that need to be put in place to make sure that people can exist here while also doing the work that they're doing. Land management that isn't really being done by any of the volunteers. We have local Portuguese people who are helping out. A local Portuguese gentleman named Victor is managing almost all of that, and he's been fantastic. His role is making sure that the land and the buildings get the maintenance they need. But he's also doing things like he'll be the person running our fall harvests. So he knows how to harvest grapes, harvest olives, get all the fruits off the trees around here. He's got years of living on the land and knowing how to do that. And he's just been a really big help. He's also the person who, after all spring getting tons of rain and now we get all this sun, everything's growing. And so he's making sure that the land doesn't get overgrown, kind of fighting back like things like brambles and really large, like some of the more prickly bushes, and making us that way we can still go through the land. And especially in August, we aren't then going back and having to re-mow the entire land. And then project management. So that's what I'm here doing, is a lot of the operations work. So knowledge work around how's the 3-year retreat getting set up? How are we making sure that all of the legal things are in place? How do we make sure that we are in compliance with all local laws? How are we in compliance with any international laws that we need to be following, or European laws? How do we make sure that the local Portuguese community support us building a retreat center with 40 people that's going to bring people through and use the roads? There's all sorts of unsexy things that go into making sure that that can happen. And so there's a lot of momentum being built right now, but it's kind of happening in the background. Things that just aren't as fun to show as like a video of building an actual retreat center. So I just wanted to note that those things are happening in the background, as well as all the logistics and coordination for a welcome celebration, which is, it's very important for us that we are bringing the Portuguese communities and the Tergar Buddhist communities together, and they get to meet each other, meet on common ground, get to learn about each other, what is local Portuguese culture that we really want to be aware of, and then any misgivings they might have about foreigners coming in and bringing stuff into the land. We just want to show them that we're normal people, we have big hearts, we're here to do good, and just to kind of build bonds that can last us for hundreds of years, because they're going to be our neighbors for as long as we are here. And then the other things for the organization prioritization. So Tergar Retreats itself is an organization, and it needs people and coordination. It needs to work within the bigger Tergar mandala. So there's all these different pieces that need to happen, that just work is being done. It's not always easy to see what it is, but we are building this momentum. And I'm really excited. It feels like we are moving nicely into the future and building this head of steam, like a little engine getting going. So I'm excited for all the work that we're getting done here. And we'll have lots more to report out as we go on. Okay, so summer volunteering changes. The first thing I want to do is just express deep appreciation for everybody who has responded to any calls, shown up for these meetings, filled out a form, an application, give us input, joined a WhatsApp, like anybody who's given us any information. You've provided so much clarity as to what we want to do for the next year. And you have helped build what is going to be the future volunteer organization of Tergar Retreats. So for the past month now, we've been hard at work, and we've realized that we are, to use an old metaphor, we're building the ship as we're sailing it. Things are moving forward. We keep trying to build things and implement them. And we realized at some point that we are trying to do too much, and it's actually not in anyone's best interest. So we've started trying to make it so that way we can have volunteers on the land, which would require us to clear campsites and get bathrooms and showers and have a space for them. And then we would also need to feed everybody. Then we'd also have to have a program that runs to take care of the volunteers. And then we also need to make sure that we have facilitators who can be here and coordinate work that's being done. But also we need to make sure that any volunteers that have any type of special needs or having trouble have somebody they can talk to about it. And very, very quickly, we realized that we would be ramping up an entire volunteer program, and that would be pulling energy, time, and resources from the real priority here, which is we need to build a 3-year retreat center so that way people can go in and go into retreat. And that's our primary goal. So our primary goal is building that retreat center, and our secondary goal is making sure that as many people as possible can do retreat. If all of a sudden we're putting time, energy, and money into running a volunteer program, it was pulling from those two main goals. And we realized that we need to take a beat here. We need to say, hey, this is all really important things for us to do. We're not set up for this, and we're going to be rushing it, and it probably isn't going to be as good as we want it to be. So with that in mind, we are not going to do a summer volunteer program, but we do want to be working over the next 6 months to start to formulate what is a volunteer program that we would all be excited about, and then how do we enact that next year and make that happen. One of the things we know, which is we have to send everybody home in September because this building that I'm in is getting renovated. So all these old problems that we're having, including insulation, the building is, it's way too cold to be in the winter, and we can't run heat affordably in it. So there's just all these things that need to get updated in order to have people on the land. And so it made sense to us to put a pause on the volunteer program and put a pause on the ability to have campsites here for the summer, because we would need to be pushing for that and building facilities that would only be used for the welcome celebration, and think about what it would mean to do this right over the next year as opposed to doing it all right now. So I'm going to take a beat here and say thank you again. I hope you understand that this is in service to the greater good, which is we really want as many people as possible to go into retreat, and we want to have a 3-year retreat available for people to go into. And then we want to run the program right. We want to make sure everybody who comes here is doing it in service to a practice in the Dharma. So that's where we've landed. If people have questions, you can find me on WhatsApp. You can find me in email, volunteering@tergar-retreats.org, or you can come to our next meeting and you can ask me questions live. I'm happy to answer them. Okay. So with that in mind, we are putting a call out for 2 volunteers that we could use on the land this summer, and it's only 2 of them. And that would be a Portuguese-speaking general volunteer and another chef to help with the kitchen. Both of them are preferable to be in person, although the general volunteer could be remote. And what is a general volunteer? We need somebody who can help with just odds and ends. That might be housekeeping one day, kitchen the next day, helping out on the land, building certain things. It could be, you just need to be an able-bodied human who can do things. And then if you can speak Portuguese, that's the primary requirement. And that is because we do need to talk to the local Portuguese communities, and having somebody who can interface with them would go a long way. So that's what we're looking for. If you are one of those people, and if you can be on the land, please reach out to me. We have the volunteer stuff, and that's a little bit further down, but would love to hear from you. Any other volunteers, we would love for you to fill out our form or reach out to us, but we aren't taking other volunteers until next year. And what does that mean? I mean, the specific things that it means is that we are having no overnight summer guests, which means the welcome celebration, nobody's overnight. Volunteers, unless you're one of these specific groups and going to be housed in this building, there's no space for that because we can't. We just don't have the facilities or the support for it. And it also means that the volunteer program this summer is going to be postponed until next year. We do still have harvest opportunities in the fall. So if you want to come out for grape or olive harvest, let us know. Those are likely to be single-day events where you would come out for the day and then leave in the evening. They are fun, but it probably is catered to a local community and not an international community. Okay, so some other updates that I want to communicate out. The website, the Tergar Retreats website, has had some light changes with some updated information, and we're working on rolling out a much more in-depth overhaul. So it's going to be not only some visual changes, but we want to make sure that we are giving regular updates on the 3-year retreat. We want to include these beautiful architectural renderings that we have, as well as a project timeline. We want to give more updates on volunteering. We also want to make sure that it's easy to find everything on upcoming retreats. So expect to see some changes to the website. They should be all in service of communicating more regularly. And we'll also be starting to post more to our Instagram and our YouTube, using more social content so that way we can get information out to everybody. We are running one of our circles, we're using Sociocracy. One of our circles is the Storytellers Circle, and their imperative for the next year is like, how are we keeping people in the loop as things are progressing and what's happening on the land, as things are being built, decisions that are being made. So we're working on that. The other thing that you're going to see is that we've started fundraising. So a capital campaign is being run. We're in the foundational phase of this, so it's just kicking off, but it's going to be a multi-part fundraising effort that will support the creation and operation of the retreat center. Specifically, we're working on making sure that the 3-year retreat is fully funded, and then from there we'll have different phases. A little redundant here, the volunteer help needed. I just wanted to make this ultra clear. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to name that I think was confusing, and I just want to make sure people understand this. The volunteer program was for people to come out and work on the land and help us get our systems in order and just find ways to do work practice. The 3-year retreat itself is a big project, and we are raising money to do it. And we don't plan on using volunteers to build the 3-year retreat center for many good reasons. We don't have any anticipation of ever using volunteer labor to make it happen. There's a lot of local laws as well as international laws that need to be accounted for. we really do need professionals building it. I mean, imagine if Zach is a volunteer and he goes out putting in plumbing or electricity or all these other things. So we don't ever anticipate having volunteers putting together the 3-year retreat. So the building and operations and all of that is taken care of, and we will pay professionals to do it. It's only when it's fully built that there will be opportunities to come out and volunteer. And we don't know what those are yet. And as I've said in every meeting, things can change. So we may choose never to have volunteers because we've done a good job of fundraising and we can keep it operational with skilled labor. I don't know. These are all just ideas that we have, but for now, we do know there will be no coming out and volunteering to build 3-year retreat. We want to make sure that we have skilled professionals building things in case of any number of local or international laws or liabilities. Okay, so looking ahead, the July call, obviously we're going to have more updates and general information. I definitely want to make sure that we can get you updates to the 3-year retreat. Some of the things that we said we were working on earlier, we want to make sure we clarify. But the big one for me is I want to find ways to have better community interaction in these calls. So how are we working as a group to kind of dream up what's going to be possible with Tirgar retreats and start building a little cohesion, maybe a little bit of a mini Sangha of people that are coming together to work together next year. And again, this is just like bookmark it in your head as there's a possibility in May or June we'll have people out. And that gives us something to work towards even if the timelines change. Okay, folks. That was me talking for 25-ish minutes. I just want to, again, express my appreciation for everybody helping to get us here, for everybody who's asked questions, been a part of this. I'm really excited to see you all. I really would love to see you all at the welcome celebration. And if you do have any questions, again, I'm always available. You can message me or you can email me. Okay. Obrigado, everybody. Thank you.